What is going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to another episode of Pips and Points. I'm your host, Jono, and today we're going to be talking about the NAS100. We always talk about the NAS100. It's like we have nothing else to talk about apart from the NAS100. Alright? So, first things first, big shout out to all my Pip Tonights. These awesome human beings are my subscribers. Guys, you are the best. I appreciate you all. And I also appreciate the new guys for hitting that thumbnail. Welcome to Pips and Points. On this channel, guys, we talk about the NAS100 99.99% of the time. That is what we do talk about, okay? And it's just my personal take on what I think the NAS is going to be doing in the coming days and weeks, right? And I lay out my technical analysis, my personal views. And within doing so, you may find opportunities that you can use to obviously capitalize on yourself. If you know what it is that you're doing, you can obviously do that. But one thing that I will stress to all of you is that I am not a financial advisor, I am not a financial guru, and I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just basically just showcasing how I plan to navigate the NAS in the coming days and weeks. So now that I've gotten that spill out the way, guys, if you find this content useful in any way, shape or form, please hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification, turn on the bell icon, become a Pip tonight. You will not be disappointed. I always aim to do my utmost to deliver the best possible technical analysis I can in regards to the NAS or whatever asset class I look at on your behalf or for myself and just happen to record it, right? So with all of that said, we're going to get straight into it. So on Friday's video, okay, I said price was going to come down to a particular zone and price went into that zone. It actually did, right? But it didn't go low enough. It just skimmed it and bounced back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on all the work that we did for the past couple of days, and we're going to see where we are currently, right? So with everything back on, we can see where we are, right? So for the new guys watching this for the first time, okay, let me explain what you're looking at. So these blue rectangles that you're seeing, and this red one as well, these are all the blocks taken from the day. So we have one that goes back to May 2021, May 13th, right? And we have another that goes all the way back to May 5th. March 8th, sorry, not May, March, right? So these are all the blocks that we're looking at right now, and the levels that you're seeing, like these levels, these are the daily highs that I've marked out. Sometimes they will be on a lower one depending on where we actually take it from. So if you take it from the 4-hourly time frame, obviously we put the levels corresponding to that so we don't confuse ourselves, we don't have lines going all over the place. That obviously makes sense, but it's confusing because you don't know what refers to what, you know what I mean? So that's how it's been done in this way, right? Okay, and then we have the overall channel of what the NAS is currently doing, right? So this is the channel of what the NAS is doing. It's bouncing around. So this was the all-time high, this area right here, all-time high, and right now it's bouncing up and down in a channel, and currently it's in a downtrend. Okay, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for buying opportunities to the top of this channel right here. So this little green little descending I forgot the name for it. Let me just zigzag all my way through it so you can obviously know what I mean. So this situation, this zone, right, is what I plan to trade until it does that, right? And we're looking for the best possible spots to get on. That was just a quick recap, just to help you understand exactly what it is that I've drawn and what I'm talking about. And this is mainly for the new guys. The guys that obviously they're subscribed and they're following the channel. This is more or less, they know exactly what's going on. But for you new guys, it's just to help you along so you can better understand what I'm trying to say and how I'm saying it. So to get into the meat of it, what you guys are really waiting for, okay, is price came into the zone, skimmed the top, right? and it's now pushing back up again. And there's a very, very, very good reason for that, because all of the majors, so these are the stocks that I've selected that are part of the NASDAQ, okay, 100, right? There's just a couple that I've selected that when they tend to move in a certain way, NAS tends to do the same thing. So I've selected those stocks and I'm going to bring them in very shortly, okay? And all those stocks are going green. So they're not going green in the sense that they've done a major move to the upside, but they are producing bullish candles currently on the daily time frame, and we're going to look at all of them, and then that's going to help us assess as to what is really going on at this level, right? So just to talk a little bit briefly more about what's going on at this level currently, what we could have here, right, in regards to this bullish wick could be a fractal. All right, now what fractals are is the lowest point within a particular structure. So just to give you an example of a fractal, I'm going to point one out to you, right? So a fractal, it is the lowest point in any given structure. Okay, so in this case it will be this bullish wick over here. Why is this bullish wick a fractal? Well, the first three that preceded it had higher lows. So this had a higher low, this had a higher low, and then we had the middle one, the middle finger, right? And then the next two that preceded that were higher ones. Okay, so with fractals you can actually trade them, believe it or not, right? Because they're relatively easy to trade, and it's even better if you combine it with a structure, like how it's going to move within a particular structure kind of gives you a decent idea as to where it's going to drop off, where it might start to pull back, right? So over here we have another fractal. Okay, so we got one bullish, right, one red, one that is significantly lower than these two, and then actually disregard that this is not a fractal at all because of this wick over here, which is good to point out, because literally what you want to have in regards to fractal is like a staircase coming down and a staircase going up, right? This violates that, so this whole thing here cannot be a fractal, so we will not count this as a fractal, but we can definitely count this as a fractal, and we cannot count this as a fractal. All right, so literally with fractals you got to wait for two candles on one side, another two candles on the other side, and the candle in the middle should be higher or lower than the two on either sides of it. Okay, so hence why I'm saying that this is beginning to look like a fractal, but however there's a good chance it might not be, and I personally think that price will begin to push back down, at which point it will not be a fractal, right? It will not be a fractal. So let's get into where we are at the moment, right? So right now price is beginning to push up, as we can see, and because I know that this is a lower low in comparison to this, right, what I then do is I'll draw a little structure to say what I think is the likelihood of what could potentially happen, right? Now a lot of the time it does fit in with what I think the market is going to do, and it's not entirely accurate, hence why I always recommend that everybody do their own personal research to understand what is going on, especially if you're planning on putting skin in the game, right? So this is what I think is going to happen, right? But do not quote me to this. Like I say, market is always changing, so what I'm saying here might not actually happen, right? This is just my best assumption as to what I think is going to go down. So this area at the top is the target area for TP in regards to this overall structure right here, right? And as a matter of fact, wait, let me, it does go into the zone. Okay, so this could happen, but for the sake of this structure, we're just going to pull it down a bit. We're just going to pull it down a bit. We're going to put it down a bit because I literally think, yep, that looks about right. That looks about right. And this move that I'm drawing out, which may or may not happen, depending on what the market wants to do, right? is what I think is the likelihood of what is going to be happening in the coming days or weeks. So this whole area right here could be the whole of May. Could be roughly the whole of May doing what it does, right? Before we even get to the upside of this level over here. And then at this level, then literally there's another situation that we would then be looking for in regards to the overall push to break the all-time high. But from what I can see, we're not even there yet, and price is going to be winding down like this for a while. And because I have a personal belief that price is definitely going to push up to create a new higher high, I'm not actually looking for sells within this market. I'm actually looking for buys as we are in the downtrend, which to a lot of you will not make any sense whatsoever. Markets in the downtrend, why are you looking for buys? Well, in my opinion, it's really simple. You look at the structure, you look at where it's overall going, and you know there's a high chance that at some point market is going to push to the upside. So I do sell, but I'm biased towards taking buys at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll wait for the market to get to the bottom, like somewhere around this area, and I'll stick in a buy. I might stick in a buy over here, or I might stick in a buy somewhere around the middle to catch that upside. It just depends on how it looks and how comfortable I am in making the trade before I make it. All right. So with that said, this is what I think is going to happen, and bearing in mind it's also very important that we have a bullish candle pushing to the upside at the moment. Let's take a look and see what the rest of the stocks are doing. Okay, so like I said in the other video, when market begins to reverse, all of these things in the list will go green. And what do we have? They've all gone green. Every single one of them, apart from Pepsi, that's the only one that's in the red, and it's done 2.3% at the moment in terms of how far down it's gone. So that is quite a bit of a drop in terms of what it's done. So, but before we get to that, we're just going to start at the top. So Tesla, this overall structure is a consolidation, right? And I do not believe this bullish candle for a second. I think it's going to pull down, right? Chances are this is just an order block to take more sales before it continues to push down. I don't think it's done doing what it's doing. That is just my opinion. Obviously, when you are talking about Tesla or any other stocks, there are a number of things you definitely want to take into consideration that I always take into consideration if I was to trade Tesla, and that would be I'll be more leaning towards the fundamentals and I'll add the technicals later. But we're not trading Tesla at the moment. We're using the overall structure of the components of the NAS, or what I consider to be the main components of the NAS100, to really determine the overall structure of the NAS itself before we jump in. All right, so this explains why we're seeing a bullish candle in the NAS right now. Okay, right, but do I believe it? No, I don't. I don't believe it for a second, right? And then we're going to be looking at the Google. I can't believe I said that. The Google. No, I'm going to be looking at Google, right? Okay. And with Google, we've got the same thing. We've got a bullish wick to the upside that I do not believe for a second. Why? Because it opened lower than the red, and it's now literally neck and neck with it. And what it would need to do is it would need to push above this red overall for me to even consider that it might be pushing to the upside. And with that, I'll be looking for, there'll be a lot of things I'll be looking for, but I mean, this is a positive sign to say I'm going to get my way, but it's not the sign to say I'm going to get my way. So I don't believe this wick either, right? I actually don't believe it. And this is Amazon. So Amazon has broken the overall channel structure that it was in, and it's come all the way down. So it came down, it pushed up, and then it fell back down again. This is where it is. It looks like it wants to push back up again, which is good, right? But I don't think this is to be believed, in my opinion, right? I still think Amazon is going to fall a little bit more, okay? But like I said, market can do whatever it wants to do. So in order to help me figure out where market is going to go, I'm literally going to need to see what happens tomorrow, what kind of wick is produced tomorrow, and maybe what happens on Wednesday to actually help me really figure out my footing in regards to the NAS, okay? But it's green at the moment. It is green. And we have Netflix. Now Netflix is where it is at the moment. So it's going. So obviously it's produced a. So let's zoom in. It has produced a bullish candle that we can see over here, a nice bullish one. But like at the same time, I personally do not feel that it is actually going to hold the position it's in right now. I don't think it will, and we'll find out as the days move forward if it is a true bullish candle, right? But I don't think it is. I think it's actually going to push down even further, but we'll find that out in the coming days. By latest Thursday, we will know. And when non-farm payroll is released, we're 100% going to know. And that is also very important that this Friday, non-farm payroll is coming out. Market structure becomes super important, because where the market is before the news comes out will kind of give you an idea where market could move to even before the news comes out, just based on what is the likelihood of it doing certain things, right? And then we have Facebook. So Facebook has now decided to push up again. So it's decided to push up, right? Which is good. It's also confirming why the NAS is looking the way that it is, right? Okay, so if you were looking for really short-term plays on a much lower time frame, say 15 minutes to an hour, this particular thing here could really help you in making those plays. But in the long term, you're going to need to watch it for a little bit longer. So we can see here that Facebook is pushing up, right? So that's good for us as well in regards to confirming the overall direction of the NAS. And then we have Microsoft. Microsoft too is also pushing up, right? And MACD is about to go green on Microsoft. So that too is also looking good. It's another positive indicator for us to say overall, market could be pushing up. But the thing is, you want to be patient. You just don't want to rush in. Well, that's what I do anyways. I try to be patient. Sometimes I will rush in and then I will get caught out. It happens. But the more patient I am, the higher my success rate is in regards to how I position myself in the market. So now we're looking at NVIDIA. NVIDIA 2 is pushing to the upside, and it has produced an all-encompassing bullish candle that we can see right here. So if I zoom in, we can see that. But there is major consolidation going on at this level, so we're going to need to know how that's going to play out. And also keeping an eye on the MACD, we can also see that the MACD, there's a very high chance it's going to go into the green. So MACD will be going into the green. So we're going to keep an eye on that, see what happens. We're going to see what happens. Right, so let's jump into PayPal. Zoom out a bit. And PayPal too is also producing a bullish candle, right? And like I said, I don't believe it. I think it's still going to push down. I don't believe it. I still think it's going to push down. So we're going to wait and see if I'm right or if I'm wrong. And I do get it wrong. I like to stress that. I do. So let's see what happens, right? And then we've got Pepsi, and we can see we have an all-encompassing red, followed by another red. Okay, so there's a very good chance the next wick to come after, or the next candle to come after, also will be a red. It will give us a pullback, then a blast to the downside, in my opinion, right? And then we go into EA. EA2 has produced a bullish candle. Hopefully you guys are beginning to get the trend in terms of why these stocks are so important in relation to what the NAS is going to do, right? They're so important to what the NAS is going to do. And we can see here that obviously it is going bullish as well. But like I said, I don't believe it. So let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. And then we have eBay. Now eBay so far in regards to the push to the upside is looking the most promising, right? Reason why it's looking promising is because of this wick in the middle, this candle in the middle, and what this candle is now doing. In regards to the wick is really quite high, and that wick needs to be filled. So first, this candle is going to fill this wick, to some degree, right? And then the next one after will then continue to fill it and then do what it needs to do. And then once it's done that, we'll then figure out if it's going to pull back down, if it's going to reach this level and pull back down, or if it's going to break through. But this structure that we're seeing over here, if market should pull up, so if eBay should pull up to around this level, yeah, and pull down, in my opinion, it will 100% be breaking the structure up to the downside. Okay, so now we're going to go into the NAS, okay, which is going to help us understand why we have this wick that we've got over here, right? And even though I've drawn the structure and it is midway through, this itself could be an order block. And like I said, it's going to violate this whole area. And it's done that. It's opened and closed below it. No, sorry, it's closed below it. It's pushed up and closed again below it. Okay? Pushed up and closed again below it. So what this next wick, what this next candle is doing is super important. So we could get what I've drawn in regards to the shape, or we could just get a consolidation at this level and a breakdown to this zone right here, and a breakdown to this zone. Make it a little bit thicker, and a breakdown to this zone right here. Okay, these are the moves that could happen. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a positive in terms of what I like to consider are the major stocks of the NAS100, in terms of they've all gone green, hence why we're seeing a green candle in the NAS. Okay, but however, I think that those greens are deceptive greens. I think that price is still going to go down, and like I said, I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm definitely not giving you financial advice. If you use this information I'm giving you to actually make trades based on what I'm saying and what I'm saying alone, that is not very smart at all. It's always better to do your own research or to speak to someone that is an expert that can help you make the right kind of moves. But in my opinion, because I believe in what it is that I'm doing, I'm saying price is going to go down. And we'll figure out in the next couple of days if it does what I said I believe it's going to do. However, it could still do the opposite, because like I say, if we get another two bullish wicks on this side, this would definitely would be a fractal, okay, and which basically means price is bouncing from this level. So although it has violated this order block at this level, right, it will be pushing up either all the way to the top of the structure, or it's just going to go to the top of this particular structure and make its way down, all right? So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit bolder. So let's just see what we've got here. So let's make this, yep, much better. So it's much cleaner, it's clear. So now obviously we can kind of see exactly what I think is going to happen. If it happens, only the market knows, right? But if what I'm saying does happen, then it's going to be a fantastic opportunity at this level to grab some NAS as we ride it up to the upside, right? And eventually, at some point this year, it is going to break and push all the way up, and you're going to see it right here on Pips and Points, because all we do is talk about the NAS100. So on that note, I'm going to wrap this video up, and I'm going to thank you for taking the time to come over to watch another episode. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button if you find the content useful. Become a Pip tonight. Drop a like, turn on the notification. So with all of that said, this is Jono signing out, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be on Wednesday.